for so long we had no status and we were treated like dirt. So now that we have all these opportunities, we want to just like show it off, and it's really just vanity.
Where was you born?
I was born in Detroit, Michigan. Detroit, Michigan. I grew up on the west side of Detroit, 1989. And I grew up, I went to Bagley Elementary in Hampton and Halley. So it's like.
What was your neighborhood like? What was that like?
Man, it was a little, it was rough, but it was a little more different than it is now. Like, we was kids having fun. You get what I'm saying? Like, we was playing basketball, playing football, and we got into fights a lot. But we wasn't grabbing guns, shooting each other. Like, when we got, you know, like earlier, it wasn't really like, the culture wasn't like, oh, I want to kill my brother. We did listen to hip hop, but it was more from a fun perspective. It wasn't like, I had a single mom, she was struggling and shit, but we were a little more blissful because we were kids and we didn't have the internet. So we know, it was a little different, but it was still tough, and we did yearn for shit that we didn't have. But, you know, it's all about how you grow up and your parents too, because my mom, she told us things and instilled stuff in us to where we had a little more sense than the average young boys running the street. I can't say that, because I did have friends who moms and dads wasn't there, moms on drugs and stuff, and, you know, we had mentors, and like some kids would do some wild shit back in the day.
Yeah, do you think your house was like, but you said it was just your mom, so your dad wasn't there. It wasn't like a father figure?
No, he came around here and there, but consistently he wasn't there.
And then how many brothers and sisters did you have?
I'm the youngest of 5. I got 1 brother and 3 sisters.
Was y'all close growing up?
Yeah, we were close. Now it was just us, because my mom worked all the time, being a nurse.
Yeah.
So it was just us in the house, my oldest sisters, my brother, and either we was getting along or we was fighting. You know what I'm saying? And I was the one that used to beat up all the time.
So like, how's y'all relationships now? Like, how's everybody now?
Everybody doing good. All my 3 sisters, they are nurses like my mom. And my brother, he doing good. He got his own company, doing well, having kids. So I would say everybody's successful. So
is y'all relationships tight? Is all of y'all relationships tight?
We don't see each other as much as we probably should, but we talk to each other. We speak, we text, and you know, some of them stay in different states. And me, I just came back to Detroit, being in California 6 years. So, you know, we got to go with the flow. You know, I call and text. Like, I spoke with my sister yesterday, so I try to stay intact with them, but it's no like bad blood or anything like that.
Right. So yeah, but was it a religious household or a spiritual household? Like, was it somebody there like consciously trying to instill?
Yeah, my mother she was for surely into the Bible. She used to go to church. She never really, she might have read the Bible to us sometimes, but I always remember her in her room praying and writing poetry. She always would be in her room either praying or writing poetry. And you know, that I believe that's why I write and I rap, because I got that gift from her. So I would say she did, but I had a godfather that took me and my brother in, and he kind of like showed us how to be a man, and he actually was a deacon. So we used to have devotion when we were young, and we would sit around and read the scripture, and we would take turns, and he would explain scriptures and verses.
What age was you when he came in?
I probably was about like 10 years old when we met him. They used to have this thing called Touch Group. It was a church called Word of Faith. And Word of Faith started a program called Touch Group. And every Tuesday, Touch Group would have church at somebody's house. And we met them at Touch Group at somebody's house. And ever since then, Mr. Lang, and I respect him so much, I still call him Mr. Lang. He found out our situation, and my mom being a single parent, he took me and my brother in. And like, we didn't live with him, but he would pick us up every week, a couple times a week, and we would do handbills. We would go to church. We would go play basketball, football, and he just, and then I was able to see him because he had a wife and he had 2 sons and a daughter, so I was able to watch him and learn how to be a man through observation. So I think that's how I found the seeds that was in me and was able to manifest certain things by seeing him for sure.
What was your first, like, what's your first memories of experiencing like some type of pain or trauma that you, like, when was the first time you can remember?
Man, I grew up on Cruz and Linden, between Linden on Cruz Street. And I was young, so growing up in the hood, you thought a lot of shit was regular. But the pain that I can remember was really just my mom and father not being together, and the turmoil and the arguing and just him not being around. Like, that brought me pain. And then really just watching my mom struggle to make ends meet, and my father not really stepping up to the plate to help her. So that kind of brought me a lot of pain growing up, just seeing that.
And then, like, when was your first time doing some hot shit? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
When the first time, like, how old was
Probably
you? What was the first hot shit you did?
Me, I was bad. I feel like I acted out because I wanted attention. Because I was the youngest, I feel like I didn't really get enough attention. Because by the time my mama had me, she already had 4 kids. So it's like her patience and attention probably was running thin. So like me, I hung out with all the kids in the neighborhood. But one of the worst things I did when I was probably like 7 or 8, we had a clubhouse right around the corner at the house next door. And it was these little boy and a girl. They was on top of we used to get on top of the garage. And they was on top of the garage. And me and one of my friends ran back there. And I seen him on top of the garage. And I was like, hey, get the fuck off our garage. So I picked up a fucking, the metal brooms, but it was broken. It was like a piece of a metal broom. So I picked it up and I threw it at him. And I literally hit dude and cracked his head. And he just started leaking blood. And I was like, oh shit, I was young as hell, so I just ran home. And then the dude mama came across there and told my mama, and my mama beat my ass so bad. Yeah. Like, but that was kind of one of the first things I did where I kind of learned right from wrong, to where it was like, oh shit, I shouldn't have did that. Like, but I was just really like it was our clubhouse. These was the kids from around the corner, and they was like on our block where we play at, and I was just on some territorial shit. Like, hell no, get off our block. Like, and I was a kid. I don't know what made me do that shit, but I did it. And I don't know how my aim was that good, but I literally cracked this dude's skull. And if he ever come across this, he probably like, dog, that's that nigga who cracked my skull when I was little. Shit was fucked up though. But that was one of the first times I got in real deep shit. It was one of those whoopings where you wake up in the middle of the night, like you go to sleep right after that shit, and you wake up in the middle of the night still crying. Like, it was bad, man. And
then when the first time you did some shit to try to get some money?
Oh man, that's early. I'm trying to think. That I would probably say middle school. Being in middle school, like trying to sell weed and shit, like. I would say, yeah, middle school, just like being around older cousins and shit, and like, but I necessarily didn't get the opportunity yet, because I had a cousin who was like in the streets, and he's always had bread, and he used to come over and give us shit. So I was always trying to get in the game, but niggas ain't fuck with me, you know what I'm saying? So by the time I got to probably like 8th grade to 9th grade, that's when I was like using some of my resources to where I was hustling, shooting dice, finessing, I was going to the mall, stealing and shit. We used to go to Northland and hit licks because we ain't really have money to buy clothes and shit. So it was like, shit, I want to be crispy because I don't want to get teased at school all the time. So the social pressures, like, and we were all poor, but some people, had it like that. So for sure, we was stealing. By 8th grade summer, we was hitting licks. And we was stealing, we was trying to sell weed, we was trying to get cell phones, but that shit was even hard to get. But we would even steal those, you get what I'm saying? So really I would say hitting licks was like the culture growing up as a young man. Trying to get down on somebody, that's what we used to call it. Trying to get down.
Did you ever get locked up?
Oh, hell yeah, man. In high school, being, but little juvenile really wasn't shit. So I wouldn't even really count that because it's like it didn't stick to me and shit. And then I learned from it, like when I was in juvie, Like, I was like, hell, I was in there by like 9-10 days. I was like, this ain't the place to be. Like, cause I ain't even, like me, I was a tough kid, but I wasn't like, I had common sense. And some of the niggas in there was just like, just crazy. And when I went in there, I ended up seeing one of the homies that I went to school with in middle school, and me and him was kicking it and shit. But I don't like the fact that I couldn't piss and shit what I wanted to, or I couldn't eat when I wanted to. So like that shit was, I was done.
And then after the last time, did that shit correct your behavior enough where you ain't never do no other hot shit afterwards, or did you still?
No, I still did hot shit after that, cause it was like, I just, when that happened, I made a dumb decision, got caught up in some shit, and then really, you know, but it did teach me not to fuck with certain niggas, because a nigga I found out a nigga wrote a statement on me. And he was like one of the coolest niggas in the school. And when I read his statement, he had lied to me, like he didn't say shit, but I actually read his statement. And that it actually showed me that niggas really soft as hell and fake. And niggas would befriend you, but then when the pressure on, they would tell.
So do you think like, so basically, like yo, everything, like your acts got more, like when you became conscious that you didn't have money, that's when shit got real for you basically then, right? Like, yeah, but realize I ain't got no money, I need to try to get some money.
But it wasn't really, it's really, I want the clothes. The money was just the means to get it.
Right.
But it's like, I want some nice clothes, I want some girls, and I want to be able to have fun. So, you know, I don't want to be, and then I didn't want to keep asking my mom for shit, because it's like, she could only do so much. It's like, she can't keep buying those Jordans. So I had to, you know, figure some shit out. And then it was hard to get jobs back then, because we was young, and like niggas wasn't working like that, so it was for sure hard. So it really was just shooting dice or trying to earn money doing little shit here and there, and you know it didn't really work out. So it's like nigga just, and then I got caught stealing, I was stealing CDs and music and shit. I wasn't really even stealing clothes. Like I was just stealing CDs. I love music that much where I was just like, hey, I want this CD, I want that, and I was like just stealing content and consuming content because I ain't had the money to, you know, buy that shit.
What drew you to music though? Like what drew you to that shit?
Music, man. You know what? Ever since I was 8, 7, I remember I would go to sleep with this tape player and listen to music. It was really just the expression. Like when I heard music and I heard people expressing themselves over music, I thought it was like an anomaly to me. This shit was phenomenal. I'm like, bruh, this shit is amazing. But I don't know what drew me to it. But I would just say, actually, just hearing it, because it wasn't even the hype. Because I was intimate with the music. Like, I didn't listen to the music with people. I listened to my headphones and by myself. I would be in my mom's Astro van with a damn tape player sitting on my lap while they listening to music. I'm in the back listening to my own music and shit.
Yeah.
And it wasn't till later who I found out what my calling was, but when I was young, it was just like it was a way for me to just have my own time with myself.
Yeah.
And I could learn off the music.
So when was like the first time you created some music?
Oh, I remember when I stole one of Lil Bow Wow raps and shit. And then I rapped it for my sister and shit. And then she was like, dang, bro, like, damn, you can rap, but I really wasn't my rap. I stole that shit. Like, and then I ended up going to the studio and shit. I ended up going to the studio with this guy that was at my church and shit. And then I didn't rap. I don't remember rapping or nothing, but like when I was in there, I seen like so much like studio equipment, and I was just like, this shit. I felt like this where I want to be. Like I love this shit. So after that, I never stole a rap again. I was like, yeah, because I think I did end up rapping for him. But I was too scared to rap that rap. So I kind of tried to make up my own raps and shit. So, but I was so whack, that's what made me like, oh man, I gotta like fucking like really learn how to rap. So it was really like a lie I told that was like a real curated rap, but it wasn't my rap. But that put me on the spot to rap again, and kind of like me lying hurt me inside so much. It was like, yeah, I can't do that shit again. I gotta actually learn how to rap. So that's what helped me learn how to rap, was just stealing CDs. I would go on my sister. She was into the streets in high school, so she used to be in the streets making money. She had a shoebox with like several thousand in it, and every now and then I would go up in her room, and then I would hit the studio, and then I would get the money and go buy the CDs. So that.
What made you start to seek the truth? What made you start to seek the truth? Was it like a moment? Like what caused you to start seeking the truth?
It was probably like when I realized in high school, like I was rapping, but I was rapping the same shit kind of everybody else was rapping. But like the spirit was pulling me, and it kept pulling me because I got Fear No Evil tatted on my arm when I was probably in 11th grade. And I realized, and it was a sword and a shield. And it was to a point where I just really figured out who I was. Like I was like, this shit not me. Like I'm supposed to be rapping a whole nother way, because inside I wasn't feeling that shit no more. Like when I was in this little clique, I was in this clique when I was in high school called Block Life Soldiers. In probably 9th grade, and I would go to the studio, but I was hanging around all grown niggas. These niggas was like in their 20s and 30s, selling drugs, getting money. So like that kind of being in that type of environment, I was around a lot of different producers and rappers. So that gave me kind of like the experience I needed. But my cousin Bay died. When my cousin Bay got murdered in that triple homicide, that was the turning point for me. It was like when my cousin got murdered, and then the whole story behind it fucked me up so bad, I ended up moving out of Detroit. Me and my brother had an apartment in Royal Oak. And then I was broken, man. I got on my knees and I prayed to God. I was like, God, like I just want my own studio. I want my own space where I can cultivate myself and make my music, and I don't have to go be in other people's spaces, because I want to do kind of something different. I want to rap different. I want to be different. And shit, a little while after that, my cousin died in October 12th, 2008. So I moved, and then February 2009, the 20th, I hit the lottery. I started playing the 4-digit. Because I told myself in my head, when he died, I read a book called The Game of Life. And it was about the laws of attraction. So every morning I would wake up, and I was probably 19 years old, and I would say, large sums of money come to me quickly in every way possible. Today is the day under grace. And I would just say this little mantra, like it was like a prayer. And my whole mindset was like, all right, I'm gonna play these 4-digit numbers, and I'm gonna hit the lottery, and I'm gonna buy a studio. So niggas thought I was really bullshit. And how I got the lottery numbers, I was playing NBA 2K, and then I looked at my highlights. And my birthday, January 19th. So when I was looking at the highlights, it was like, the highlights was across the screen, so it said 1194. And I was like, I'm about to play that shit in the lottery. And I played that shit, and I hit it straight for like 2,600. So I got all the money, and then I went and bought a brand new computer, a microphone, a studio, a sound card, and I didn't know how to use none of that shit. I just was so stoked, and then I just sat in my room and motherfucking learned how to motherfucking record myself and learn how to, make music and shit. But I fucked up so much shit in the process. Like the music was trash in the beginning, but I've never quit. And that was like my first journey to where I was like, I became more spiritual, and because I manifested that, and it was a prayer. So nobody could tell me God wasn't real. Because I literally was on my knees crying. Like, God, my cousin got murdered. I was fucked up.
So that's pretty much when you started seeking the truth.
At 19, yup, at 19.
And then, so you said you was 19 when you started seeking that truth?
Uh-huh.
And then, so do you think now at this age and at this space that you at, do you believe that you know what that truth is? That you was once seeking? You were seeking it, and it was unknown to you. Are you at a point now where you feel like you know what that truth is?
For sure. And I think it was the understanding of the truth. Because right. I might have had glimpses of the truth, but it's so much stuff out there, you got to kind of live this shit in order to know what's true. So I would say now I understand a whole lot more. It's still things that I'm learning, because I'm not like the final product, but Yeah, I'm probably light years past where I was at 19, like for sure.
So you think that with the music, what you trying to do, I mean, what you do you think like the music helps lead you to the truth? And then what you do is pretty much, you use the music as a tool to record what you understand at that time? Or are you just using the music to relay what you've learned back to the people?
I would say it's a little bit of both. I'm using the music to relay what I've learned over the years, but also some things I do in recording the music, I don't really necessarily know the effect of, because some things when I'm writing, sometimes I get downloads right then and there. You get what I'm saying? Some things, sometimes I get ideas and I say things and I might not know how substantial they are till somebody come tell me. You get what I'm saying? And then sometimes I second guess myself, so I would say it's a little bit of both. Like it's a little bit of both, because sometimes I'm writing, because I love to write to where I can give somebody something they can be familiar with, and then I can give them a jewel right behind it. And I'll say a problem and then I'll say a solution. And I like to do that because it brings people in when you talk about certain problems, but then you bring solutions. But I want to do it in a witty way. I don't like being corny. You know what I'm saying? Like, right. You can't do what I do corny. It has to be authentic and original. Because, you know, I'd have been in studios with producers and I'd have had people really kind of like go crazy over certain lines I say. But the line before that might be something materialized or something just surface. And, you know, over the years of practice, I had to learn how to make deep shit surface. I call it surface deep, to where it's like I'm talking super deep, but I'm putting it on a platter for you.
Yeah. And then, so do you feel like, would you look at yourself like a leader right now?
For sure. I would say I'm a leader, because there's not many people doing what I'm doing. Because a lot of people just chasing a bag. And they want attention. How much attention can you get? But I'm going a scenic route. I'm following my heart and my spirit. And my heart and my spirit is telling me this is what I need to do. So I'm staying with it. Like, I'm not wavering.
And then, like you being a leader, if people was following you, where are you trying to lead them?
Inside themselves. I want them to listen. Because there's so much noise in the world and there's so much shit going on and distractions that people are drowning the voice and the spirit within them. Because I think God is within us. But if you so distracted and you too much in the flesh, you will miss.
What do you mean by being in the flesh? Like, what do you mean by that?
In your head, in your head, and your problems, and focus on the reality that's in front of you. But it's another reality. It's so many possibilities within you. But it's about how you tap into yourself and express it outwardly, your behavior. Like, you can change your reality through your behavior, but if you keep looking at what's bad and what's going bad, you will never change it.
So you think in your rap, the stuff that you speak on, is that like trying to make them aware of the obstacles that they might face going on that path within themselves? They might face these obstacles. Is that what you're doing? Like, you speaking on the obstacles, basically like, hey, look out for this, look out for that.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
But the obstacles go two ways, because there's also obstacles that's in the world, because the hierarchy people in the world set traps for us and pitfalls on this, and it's on a spiritual level, but it manifests in the physical. But it's also obstacles we create for ourselves, because we buy into the illusion of the world. So it's really both. Like, I want people to really, like, a lot of the shit, like, you matter more than anything. Like, more like motherfucker be working hard trying to get a look or get some clothes or something, but it's like, you worth way more inside. Like, ain't nothing wrong with having nice shit, but if you hold that value more than you hold yourself, your heart, your lungs, everything, you a spirit in a human body. So it's like, that deserves honor. You should walk with honor and have pride. But it seems like our culture is like, they're more prideful and seem more honorable when they have material. And the material is not even ours. is of somebody, it's another family that created, it's another family's name on it, and it's like you have your own family name. So it's like you buying into the illusion, and you really put yourself more in a pitfall, because it's like it's about you.
Yeah. So I guess my final question would be, do you think life make you, or you make life?
Life make you in a way, but you also make, like, it's about, you make life because it's about how you respond. Life make you because you can't control what happened to you. But that's the test is how you respond. Because the more you elevate over shit, the more you're going to create an easier road for yourself to where it's easier to manifest, where you're not going to have so many issues. And when people feel violated or robbed, because the enemy of the spirit like to make people feel agitated, robbed, and that justifies people's behavior and their actions. But people don't understand the spiritual forces that motivate them. If they understood the spiritual forces that's wrapped in jealousy, wrapped in resentment, wrapped in pain and suffering, they will see, oh, I could capitalize off this in a positive way. Because they say, like, Jesus learned through pain and suffering. So a lot of reason why I rap this way and I rap positive and I do shame the negative is because I learned through pain and suffering. And I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing my brothers go through pain. I'm tired of seeing my sisters go through pain. Children keep being born out of wedlock. Fathers not there. Women not doing what they supposed to do. Like, our family is broken. And it's like, when are we going to get to a point where it's like, enough is enough? Like, I don't want my kids to suffer. Like, and we crying about, you know, the racist stuff that's going on, but we won't empower ourselves. So it's almost like we crying about all this, but we want somebody to do the work for us. Like, we got to really clean ourselves up. And part of the culture that was created, because we don't own none of these labels. We don't own a radio. But when they see a hot artist, they know how to sign him, give him a little bit of money, but he got to sell his masters. You know what I'm saying? So he's not really empowered. And then there's a false sense of empowerment because they put him on a camera, and they own the camera, they own the infrastructure, they own all the back end of things, and he get famous. And then they put him in front of us, and we like, bro successful, but bro just perpetuating the same shit that's harming us. So it's almost like a cycle that we keep going through, and we honor and we try to put them on a pedestal, but they don't deserve to be on a pedestal. The men that's in their homes and the families that's fighting through this shit is the people who deserve to be on a pedestal.
So my bad. So if it's one thing you would tell somebody, it's like, what's the one thing that a person needs to do? Like, if you was to talk to anybody, what's the one thing, if you was to talk to somebody, like, what's the one thing they need to do?
Do the real work. Do the real spiritual work inside of you to help yourself evolve to be a better person for humanity, for your family. Like, because, you know, if somebody died or something happened to someone close to you, you would be torn. So we need to change the narrative. Like, positive music could be hot if we promoted positive music and made it hot. Like, we control the market, we control everything. So it's like, we just need a little more balance, because, you know, sometimes, you know, ego music is fun. Like, sometimes we want to drink some wine, turn on some 21 Savage, we want to dance a little bit, but it should be looked at as like, we shouldn't take it serious to where it's like, we all we want to do is hold guns and be tough. Like, a lot of our black brothers just want to be tough, and it's like, I understand you gotta have some sort of toughness, but it's getting toxic. To where a point you can't even say hi to another brother. He gonna mean mug you. You get what I'm saying? So we just gotta have some type of balance. And really we losing our humanity. That's what I think, is taking our humanity from us to where we can't even sympathize with another person. Because it's selfishness. We into ourselves so much. We into what we doing, our money. And then we wanna flash everything. Because it's about status. We for so long we had no status and we were treated like dirt. So now that we have all these opportunities, we want to just like show it off. And it's really just vanity. And in the eyes of the Most High, and I feel like a lot of our people believe in God, but in the eyes of the Most High, it's filthy. He hated it. So I just think, you know, it's some balance there. We need some balance there, and everybody got to grow. But I would just say, like, or at least, you know, make the playing field a little even. If you see brothers doing good work, help them brothers doing good work, because everybody else is helping in that. Like all the other nationalities that want to exploit us and make money, they gonna promote the shit to destroy us. They're not gonna promote liberation so we can eventually get smart and start owning the fucking stores in our neighborhoods. They don't want that. Like when New Era Detroit, like how they go around the city, and if something happened at a liquor store, they hold the liquor store accountable to a point where people might stop going to certain places. It's like we need more pride in who we are, and it's like everybody for themselves, and that's why we getting shot down and treated like shit. So I just think it has to be more balanced, and that's why I'm gonna keep making the type of music I make, because, you know, it's not popular. So I feel like if I need to do what's not popular.
So you look at yourself like the sacrifice.
For sure, because I went to school for music. I lived in California. I've been around famous people and worked with famous people, but I dedicate my work. My work would have been picked up more easily if I was doing what everybody else was doing, because I'm very good at it.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, no, I consider myself the rap Nina Simone. I want to make people feel uncomfortable. Like, I want to make you feel uncomfortable. I want to move you in a good way or a bad way. Like,
yeah.
And that's what I want to do. And I feel like if I get a reaction, then that's good. If you hate it, that's good. If you love it, that's good.
Yeah.
It don't really matter to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm being true to myself.
That's it, man. For real. We get it.
I'm coming soon. The Spook who sat by the studio.